great people, and welcome to the holiday show at Bright Books Club. Of course, I'm your host, Portia Bright Pittman, right here, right now, bringing you all the cheerful joy this holiday season. It's been no secret, of course, I've been advertising for phenomenal guests that we have on the show this afternoon. So grab your lunch, like and share this broadcast because Edith Chamberlain is here to share some positivity. She's all about, sowing seeds of greatness and joy and what we're about here at the Bright Books Club, which is positivity and getting out information in regards to literary arts. So I'm excited to welcome our guest here today. Also, before we get into that, I want to encourage you to head on over to our website. She actually has her book on brightbooks.org right now, where you can actually pick up autographed copies of this book. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in our author, Edith Chamberlain. Hi. Let's see. Let's unmute your mic. Yes, awesome. How are you doing, Edith?
I'm doing great. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Happy to be here, Portia. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. Now, of course, we read your bio. Of course, you have your bio on social media, as well as our website to purchase the book. But tell our audience a little bit more about yourself because you are doing some phenomenal things.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm a native of Birmingham, Alabama. I grew up here. Also, I attended the University of North Alabama, got my master's degree from Ashworth College. Currently, right now, I am a chief of staff and senior compliance manager. So just to simplify that, I make sure all the trains stay on the track and that they don't collide, and that I'm promoting a culture of ethics and compliance. That's so important. So that's me professionally by day, but by night, I love to do creative writing. And I don't know if you'll probably ask me more about that, but to date, Polli Patience, of course, is my first baby. But to date, I've written 21 books, but Polli is my first book to actually be published and illustrated. So I'm really excited about it. Something that I just personally believe is just sowing seeds of greatness into the world. And Polli is one of the ways that I get to do that.
Awesome. Of course, I want to get into your creative writing, but you mentioned one thing that stuck out to me just right then about your profession. We see trains on the track all the time. And, I personally have always seen men driving the trains and working on the rail tracks. But you are basically saying that you are a part of that process too. And that makes me so joyous to see, a Black woman who has such a powerful position to be able to, make sure that everything is going right when we see those trains just coming down the track saying, choo, choo, choo.
Exactly.
There's a Black woman behind that too sometimes.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I'm excited about the position, excited about, making a difference. We all have gifts and abilities that are in us, and we have to just be able to keep moving forward. Even when it looks like, I always say, delayed doesn't mean denied. You just have to stay focused and keep going. And that's what I'm doing, professionally and personally as well. So, I will tell anyone that's out there, especially in your profession, we all want to be able to have a seat at the table, but you just have to stay focused and keep going.
Speaking of keeping going, I want to get into your creative writing for a second because you have Polli Patience, Baptime, and you've written 21 books. What about this book made you actually go the extra mile to get it published?
Really? You know what? I'll say Polli Patience. Polli is a little bit of Edith. She's a little bit of Edee. So my nickname is Edee. And honestly, I am a go-getter, and I am the type of person that likes to plan. And usually when I plan ABC, but life doesn't happen ABC. God in general can go ABWF, and you have to be able to know how to pivot. You have to be able to have that patience. And so earlier on, I think I have more patience now, but early on, when I was younger, I realized I didn't have that much patience. So Polli Patience is a little bit of me. And I feel like there's so many other people in the world, no matter how old we are, 3 years old or 53 years old, we can all use a little bit more patience. So out of my 21 books, Polli Patience was really the one that stuck out. She was the one that, spoke to me.
speaking to you now, I saw you on social media. Of course, you had, the book, your table set up, but you were actually set up like a scuba diver.
I,
Tell us why you chose to do that, like go into costume with your book.
Oh, and you probably, I don't know if you can see it, but I actually have on my wetsuit and everything. I have my scuba diver gear. I'm ready to go. If I need to go diving on the phone with Portia live, then I can do it. I can make it happen. Whatever you do, you give your all, whether it's personally or professionally. And I feel like Polli Patience is a brand of me. I'm putting my all into it. And so I think it's great to be able to convey who the character is. It's a great showstopper. Even if people weren't going to stop by my table, they actually stopped because they wanted to know, one, what is that outfit you got going on? And two, who is Polli Patience, really?
Right.
So when when you move forward in life and whatever you do, give it your all. Because at the end of the day, I can say, you know what? I gave it all I got, and that's what I'm doing.
Awesome. Yeah, you're definitely giving your all now. Out of the 21 stories, you wrote Polly Patience Bath Time. What do you want readers to learn from this book?
Really patience. I'll tell a brief synopsis about Polli Patience. So Polli Patience is just a fun, energetic little girl. She loves to read, eat pickles, but Polly just has two big problems, right? She doesn't have any patience, and most of all, she hates bath time. I mean, really, you have to be a professional scuba diver to take a bath every day. And
Yeah.
right. And really what I want people to learn, it's not just as you're a child, but when you think about even as adults, sometimes we don't have a patience. Sometimes we're mad because we didn't meet the goal. We didn't get the job opportunity. Our kids are 13. They're still acting like they're in the terrible twos, right? We don't have patience even as adults. But what I want people to know is I want kids, of course, to know, of course, yes, bath time is great, and that you should have patience. But as adults read this, I want them to be able to put their self in the situation of Polly. It doesn't have to be bath time. I want you to think about the goals that you have in your life where you're impatient. And Polly in the book, she's just like, I don't have time to take a bath. I don't have time to have patience. I want to get this done. I want to play. I want to do this. Well, as an adult, I can relate to Polly. Seriously.
Yeah, totally.
Had just like Polly. And the great thing about it, I've had kids love the book. I've had adults reach out to me and just say, hey, I can, I've been Polly even in my life is what they'll tell me. A lot of women have stopped me and said, my husband needs Polly. They need a little patience in their life. So I'm so glad that people in general can relate to Polly in general. I've had several people just tell me with parenting, it's made them slow down and pay attention, how they're not just reacting to their child, but they're listening to what they have to say. They're more patient with them. And that's important too. So.
Right. Now, of course, you mentioned adults, picking up the book and saying, hey, I can relate to Polly Patience as well. But tell us, what age group did you write this book specifically for?
Really, I wrote this book really for ages, I'll say from 3 to 10, to be honest with you. But I feel like everyone has been loving Polly. Honestly, I'm just so grateful that I feel like so many people can relate to Polly. I've had random people reach out to me and just say, you know what, my little girl loves to read more because of Polly, or my little girl loves seeing an author that looked like her. And, or, this has become a bedtime staple, for my son. And honestly, Polly Patience, I thought more little girls would gravitate towards Polly, but the boys love Polly too. Polly in the book, she gives her brothers a run for their money in the book. So the little boys, I've gotten a number of boys reach out to me in general saying they love Polly Patience. So that's amazing.
Right. Now, of course, today, a lot of times we don't see a lot of books with characters that look like us. How important was it for you to have that representation in literacy?
Honestly, it was so important. Early on you said, and let me rewind. So when I was a little girl, reading and writing was something that I just loved to do. In my mind, then I didn't think, I wanted to grow up and I wanted to write a Brown book, characters based on Brown books. I honestly didn't think that. I just love reading and writing. And I knew that one day I wanted to be able to contribute to the world, sow seeds of greatness, and just be an author and create my own children's books. And honestly, I wrote these books, all of them, all 21 of them, in actually 2013 is when I wrote all of the books. like literally, sometimes if you can get into your quiet space, then you can just get so inspired. And sometimes we don't really get into that quiet space because we have so much going on with life. But in 2013, I was just inspired and then wrote 13 books. And, I kind of just put them to the side because I started a new job and I just got busy with life. In 2019, in November 2019, I said, okay, Edith, when 2020 comes, you need to set a goal and you need to at least publish one of these books. That was in November 2019. March 1st of 2020 came and I started researching illustrators, editors, and everything. That was March 1st. COVID happened on March 12th. I'll never forget it because I thought, oh my gosh, is this a sign? Like, should I stop? Should I not move forward? You start thinking all of these what ifs in your mind. And so I decided to keep moving forward. That was in March. And I ended up finding an illustrator. And then honestly, all of the, the social issues, social injustice issues started happening. And then again, in my mind, I was like, okay, is this a sign? Should I move forward? All the what ifs, come into your mind. And I decided to move forward. And I felt like this was something important. Again, early on, I said delayed, but not denied. When I look at it now, 2013, I wrote the books. I sowed the seeds of greatness in, but I was only set at that foundation for now, because I'm glad that this is the time that the book came out, because I feel like it's so important. Representation matters. African-American books probably consist of, I read some article last year, probably consist of less than 15%, of books out there. Kids want to be able to read books that look like them. And even if it doesn't look like them, it's so important to be able to educate others, on books that look like us as well. So it's definitely important.
Definitely. Now, of course, you have, Polli Patience. Now, does Polli actually have any relation to you? Like, how did you develop her character? Because I was reading the book to my son and, just her facial expressions, like the illustrator did a knockout job in terms of illustrating this book. Like, but how do you actually come up with her character?
Like I said, Polli is a little bit of Edee, So it was honestly easy to come about. Polli, again, she's a little bit of me, and it was something that has always been in me. Creative writing in general is always in me. And so many people have asked me if Polli is a series, and she actually is a series. So I can't, she's a part of me. Some things are a part of you, and sometimes we don't ever get to let it out. That's why, we have that untapped talent sometimes that we just forget about when life happens, right? And so sometimes we have to be able to tap into that untapped talent, bring that inspiration out. Although I might be a chief of staff or a senior compliance manager, but I'm also, an author that want to be able to inspire others through kids' books. So sometimes we have to be able to pivot and just, open up that inspiration and that motivation. I could say that sometimes we set goals for ourselves, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the goal has to change, but sometimes you have to be able to pivot to get to the goal. So I could have said in 2013, I could have said, you know what, I didn't publish my books or illustrate my books then, but no, I feel like when 2019 comes, something prompted in me. I had no idea that 2013 was going to be COVID, that it was going to be social injustice issues. I had no idea, but something was just guiding me like, okay, you need to research. You need to get this done. You need to be able to put this greatness out there, inspire others. And so here we are.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing such a great job. Like I said, when I saw you on social media, like I was like, oh, so pulled in by what you were doing, especially when I saw you in the wetsuit. I'm like, I know this is a great story right here.
I just wanted it to be something that was humorous, but also have a lesson to it and to be able to be relatable. Early on, I definitely have to say shout out to my illustrator, Tyrus. When I was looking for an illustrator, I wanted it to be I wanted the images to be unique. I wanted it to stand out at me. I wanted it to be something 3D that told a story on its own. I wanted the characters, when you look at them, even if you didn't see the words, that you would just be like, whoa, this is amazing. I have to read it. And that honestly, Tyrus Gaucher, he's awesome. So shout out to him for being a great illustrator. Love his work.
Awesome. Now, Edith, of course, there are a lot of authors out there. Well, excuse me, authors, people who want to be authors, and, they look at, folks like you and I, and they think, it happened overnight. but a lot of times it does not happen overnight. What are some of the things that you would encourage them to do in order to get to the level that you are now?
I would actually say, create a plan for yourself and honestly be willing to pivot if need be. As I said earlier, sometimes, like I said, we plan, it has to go this way, ABC. But, if a monkey wrench is thrown in there, be able to pivot within that plan, be open, find you a network of other authors as well to be able to inspire you, or join author groups or go to network. And something that I did in 2013 is I would, located in my city, I would the library would hold all these networking groups with other authors. And I would actually go to those networking events. I would, go to different conferences, talk to different authors. And to be honest with you, when I first wrote all these books, I was like, I don't think I want to be a self-publishing author, because it was like, it's too much work. I was like, I have a full-time job. I don't have time to market. I have too much in life going on. I don't have time to market my book. I would love to be able to just find a publisher, get a literary agent, and they do all of this work. So in 2013, that's what I did. I actually went around to different conferences, talked to self-publishing authors, and a lot of them told me, it's a lot of work. Honestly, it's you being the boots on the ground, you pushing it and all of that. And that was the end of 2013. 2014, I started a new job, and I just felt like, I don't really have time to focus on my books like that just yet, because you're in a new role. You have to learn that, that's my bread and butter. That's my day job.
Yeah.
So I need to focus on that. And that was kind of what I did. But what I would do is, like, when I would do like these inspirational speakings, I would just like tell people about my books. I would like tell them about the stories, and people would say, oh, you have to get your books published. And so again, create a plan for yourself. Also, be willing to pivot, go to different networking events, or, you can go on Facebook groups and get in those groups and talk to different authors. Give yourselves grace, just a little bit of grace if it doesn't work out how you're planning. Again, sometimes you just have to be able to pivot. So create a plan, bring great people around you, even family people, just to inspire you along the way. And then I feel like you'll know when it's time for you to step out there. And I guess I'll fast forward. So originally I wanted to find a big publisher. I did start doing the whole literary agent thing, reaching out, writing letters to them. And it didn't go as planned, honestly. You were getting, I got a couple denied letters, and after those couple, again, I started a new job, and I was like, okay, I don't really have time to focus on it. And so when 2019 came, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to look at the self-publishing thing, because I feel like, again, sometimes you plan a goal, but you have to be able to pivot along the way. And so self-publishing was my pivot along the way. And I felt like this time was much better than back then, especially with everything that's going on in the world. And now when I look back on it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm so glad I went this route. Through this route, honestly, I've met so many other aspiring authors, around the world. I'm in Birmingham, Alabama, but I've met people just through social media, Germany, Canada, speaking out, just speaking to different authors or whatever. And honestly, I'm just grateful, so I am just putting one foot in front of the other. I had someone reach out to me the other day, and they're like, oh, you just seem like you know what to do. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm just putting myself out there,
Right.
I'm just putting myself out there, one foot in front of the other. And I'm just making it happen. And I'm just like, okay, God, I know that you'll lead me to wherever I need to go.
Right. Now, speaking of plans and leading you where you need to go, what's next for Edith, author Edith? Like, what's next? Because this is a great story, great illustrations. I know this is not the end. There has to be something else coming next.
What's great. So again, everyone keeps asking me, when will the next series, or when will the next book come out for Polli Patience? Polli Patience she has been out for 4 months, but it seems like she's been here. So she is really still brand new. So I'll say what's next. You know what? I've been going to a couple events, and what I love is Polly has been moving into the classroom. She's moving into the libraries. So that's what I want. And Portia, speaking of, that's what someone randomly reached out to me last week and say, hey, you don't know me, but I happen to get your book. And I'll shout out a fellow author, Sherry in Canada, reached out to me. I did not know her. She just had been following me on social media. She was like, my 14-year-old loves your book. I mean, like,
wow.
it's hilarious. She's in Canada. She was like, I want to buy additional books so that your books can go in the school system up here. So, people just randomly that I don't know have just been reaching out to me. So I'm looking forward to what's next with Polly. I feel like so far I'm happy because my ultimate goal was to be able to sow seeds of greatness into the world. If I can inspire someone else in some capacity, then my job is done.
Awesome, Edith. I was telling my husband that you sent me the books and I was showing him the books and he was just so it was eye opening to see a story that was talking about taking a bath and all that stuff. He's like, I never heard a story about taking a bath and everything like that. And so I was reading the book to my 7-month-old son, and he was so engaged with the book. I mean, just the illustrations in general. I just want to shout you out for that. Your illustrator did a phenomenal job. Tell people where they can actually go get your books.
Yes, you can go to Amazon.com, look up Polli Patience, or you can go to my website at Polli Patience and Friends. You can read more about the author. It'll tell you about my social media handles. You can follow my social media handles, and it'll also direct you to Amazon as well. This is a great holiday season present for your kids. And like I said, many wives have approached me. If you want to buy it for your husband as well, you can do that too.
Awesome. Edith, thank you so much for being on the show. Of course, people can actually go also purchase your books actually on our library at brightbooks.org. This is a great story, especially for any little girls that their moms or parents are teaching them about, bath time and all that stuff. I'm encouraging our viewers as well as people who are, visiting our website to pick up your books. I mean, we have literally a chief of staff here. She works on trains. Like, you just never know who you're going to encounter and, what they're doing in this whole author world. So I appreciate you so much. And Lord willing, when this pandemic is over, we authors can get together. Everyone that I've connected with, like all over the world, Lord willing, we can get together and do some pop-up events in person.
I agree. That would be so amazing, Portia. I'm looking forward to it. Yes.
Now I got a reason to come to Birmingham, Alabama now.
Yes, I agree. You come on down. Me and Polly, we're gonna be ready to go, of course.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you, all the joy and the love that you're putting out here in the world. Great people. I'm encouraging you to go pick up her book. Of course, like I said, you can pick it up at Bright Books Club. At brightbooks.org in our authors library. You can pick it up. It'll take you all over to her website where you can get signed copies of the book and any other goodies that she has available. Thank you so much for being here today, Edith. As always, stay blessed and remember to continue to do positive things because people are always looking. I mean, I feel like I can see this story on Nickelodeon or something like Cartoon Network. I mean, it's an inspiring story.
Portia, you know what? I didn't say anything, but I always tell people, I was like, when Polly came to life, or just my stories in general, I have so many other characters, but just growing up in my mind, I envisioned them one day being a cartoon. I thought to myself, why can't I be the next Walt Disney? Like, really?
You know what I'm saying?
Why can't I take it to that next level, to be honest with you? The sky is the limit, but we just have to keep focused and keep going.
Put in the work for it because this is a great story, and I just put it in the universe. Walt Disney. Hopefully, you're watching Bright Books Club one day. Go and pick up Polli Patience, read it, get your creative directors checking it out.
Right.
This is a great book. I mean, it's a great storyline too, and the characters are phenomenal. So I'm looking forward to it, Edith. I'll continue to be promoting you, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you again in the future for some new books that may be coming out.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Portia. I do. I receive everything that you're putting in the atmosphere for Polli Patience. I wish you and your family a blessed holidays.
You too. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Awesome. No, that was Edith, great people. doing great things. All the time I get authors who are, reaching out to me, asking me about how to publish your books. Well, Edith just gave you some really good nuggets to utilize. You got to pivot, make a plan, and then join some author groups. Join other authors who are already doing the work that you're trying to do. This has been a great show. We were supposed to be on for 15 minutes, but when we get with authors who have great conversation and are spreading joy and love and peace and, showing us how to get the job done to achieve your goals, conversations just go over. But I appreciate you for tuning in today to the holiday show at Bright Books Club. I'm encouraging you to go support some of these authors that we actually have on our website at brightbooks.org. And stay tuned for more. Like and share this broadcast so that way you can continue to keep the positivity going so other people can feel this joy as well. So I'll talk to you soon, great people. Remember to stay positive and remember to press on, because if the sun can find a way to shine through on a cloudy day, so can you. I'll talk to you real soon. Peace.